there everyone, Kay here on my homestead. Welcome back to my channel. I had in mind to make a short video today to talk about a couple of things that transpired this past week that you might not be aware of. Although now, because I didn't jump on it and get it out the day that it happened, I already see at least one channel talking about it, and I'm sure there are others. So if you follow several homesteading or gardening channels, you might have heard about this. So that was my plan, but first I had a plan to make a video about my varieties and of tomatoes, and like I did the last few years, and a taste test and recommendations, challenges, you know, growing tomatoes this year. And as we're winding down in the season, you know, you're getting down to the dregs of the tomato vines. And so, just like I did last year, I said, Kay, you have got to get this filmed today because you don't have that many great examples of these particular tomatoes. So I got that all set up. I actually shot it out in the entrance to my shop because it's a completely cloudy day and the interior of my house is very dark. This is the lightest room in here, and still, even with this small sunroom, if I have the windows behind me, I am backlit. If you're not a photographer, then you might not understand this, but if you're backlit, meaning the light's coming back here, then you don't have light on your face. You've always got to have light on your face. So you have to always think of that when you're setting up your shots in your videos. So I got that filmed, and then I thought, I'm going to see my mother. I didn't see her last weekend, and the weekend before when I got there, she's never sound asleep. She's usually just either just relaxing or dozing or something, but she was just really sleeping deeply, and I just said, you know, let her rest, and I didn't stay. So I haven't really seen her. So I said, okay, I got my other video done at about 12:30, got everything back in here, got the tomatoes in the refrigerator. I said, I'm going. You know, now to go see my mother is an hour and a half drive, and then seeing her, and then I was going to stop at the store over there and buy some organic ginger and cilantro, because I want to make, with the remaining tomatoes, which there aren't that many, I want to make fermented salsa and with the cilantro, and then I want to make tomato jam, and I need ginger for that. So that was my plan. And I thought, okay, well, I don't really want to let the cats out because I don't like going on that trip and having them out. Just in case something happened, I couldn't get back, and nobody else is going to be able to get them in. And they would probably be fine. They can find places to hide. But I just said, no, I'm going to leave them in. So I said, but I got to get going. I got to get going because it's already 12:30. It's going to be 2 o'clock. 12:30, 1 to 2. 2 o'clock before I get to even see her. And then so I was rushing in the garage, and I have been telling myself for the last few days, Kay, you have got to, I have a bunch of cardboard boxes in there that haven't been broken down, and they're in the way. And I was rounding up the kitties to put them in the big dog crate for a minute while I pulled my car out. And the three amigos went in there, no problem. But Patch, she didn't want to do it. And so I had to walk over. I got her, she laid down and she cooperated. I picked her up and I'm walking around the car and I tripped on one of those boxes. And I went down hard on my right kneecap. And right now it's about twice the size that it ought to be. So I don't know, I won't know probably until tomorrow the full extent. But this is going to severely hamper my ability to, finish up all this work. Oh my gosh, finish. Finish is not a term you can even use with gardening. I mean, you never get finished. And even yard work, you never finish yard work because there's always some more thing you could do. Unless you have a service that just keeps everything immaculate, which I don't. So there's a lot to do here, even though the garden is winding down. There's a whole lot to do. And so, I don't know. Now, I mean, maybe you can see my knee. You probably can't see it that well. But it's swollen on this side and this side, but it feels like there's something doesn't feel right going down that way. And so, anyway, let me get back to what I wanted to talk about. But first I wanted to say community. I have been talking about this since I came here. Where's my phone? Yeah. Community is so very, very important. And I'm just looking for this thing that I wanted to show you, so bear with me for one moment. Okay, here it is. Well, yeah, I've got it here. And this is a YouTube video, and I will put the link underneath. We'll talk about that in just a second. But community is so important right now with everything that's going on, and especially if you're someone like me, you're doing this on your own and you're out in the country. Somebody wrote me and said, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to be out like at the end of a road and I'm in a cabin, and I'm concerned about being alone out there and stuff. And I said, well, you need a neighbor or two or three that you can really rely on. And I mean, you don't want to make yourself, you don't want to be a burden to them, but you want to know that they can help you out. And so what happened last night is I was making tomato juice, fresh tomato juice, like Daryl had suggested I do, how he does it. He makes fresh tomato juice in his juicer, and then he puts it in quart jars and puts it in the, well, first in the refrigerator for a day and then in the freezer. And then, what I had done before, like a month ago, was I made 18 quarts of tomato juice that I had put through my juice steamer. Tomatoes went through the juice steamer. So they are steamed to get that juice, so that means they're kind of cooked. And then you deep water can them so they're further, so the tomato juice is further cooked. And this way, the tomato juice is not cooked at all. It's frozen, it's fresh frozen. So, which is, I would think, much healthier than the canned tomato juice. Of course, in the winter, I'll be grateful for either one. But anyway, I was enmeshed in getting this done, and I have to go down and turn on my electric before dark. And so I went out, and it was 7:45 It was 7:30, 7:45, and it was getting low light. I turned on my headlamps. I have headlamps on my four-wheeler, and if you're new to my channel, I drive to my garden because I'm on a hill, and going up and down that hill a few times, you are finished. You don't have any energy to do anything else. So I had my four-wheeler up here, and I just zipped down there. I went and checked the mail, and I knew exactly the route that I went because I remembered. But I came back up here. I fed the cats, the one indoors and the four out there, and then I went, washed my hands. I went back and I finished up labeling the jars and everything and putting them in the refrigerator, taking a picture, and then putting it in the refrigerator. And then I realized I didn't have my phone. And so I had to sit there and think, well, you know, surely it was in the pocket of my apron, which I won't ever do again, but I did it last night. I went out with my apron on. I just put my phone in there because I need my phone in case something happens to me when I'm on the four-wheeler, obviously. And, you know, I may have to get one of those things you put around your neck that, you know, you call in case you have a problem. But anyway, so it's dark. It's fully dark, and I'm searching all around, and I cannot find the phone in the house, and I don't feel comfortable. One reason is because one of my best friend's daughter stepped on a copperhead at 10:30 in someone's front yard, 10:30 at night, someone's front yard. She had to be airlifted to Vanderbilt from Kentucky, and where they had the anti-venom. And so you know, I just don't feel comfortable going out after dark by myself. And, you know, I need some mace or I need something. I don't know. We have to figure that out. But anyway, what I did was I called my neighbor and I said, Kip, can you come over and help me look for my phone in my yard? And so he comes over with a headlamp and the big flashlights, and his daughter, she says, I'm going. And when he told her what I called for, she says, I'm going. So the three of us are out there searching. We made 2 passes. This process was like a half an hour. And I said, well, you go ahead and look. Let me come back, make sure I didn't lay it down somewhere and all of this canning and preserving mess and all of this. So didn't find it in the house, so went back out, and they were coming up this way and I went down that way. And I had it in my mind that I went between the vineyard and the new potato terrace. Right now it's a potato terrace. I don't know what it's going to wind up to be. Potatoes are in there, and I was just sure in my mind that I drove between them and that I didn't drive below the vineyard, but I had. So we had been looking here, and when I went straight down and headed to the corner of the lower garden, I saw something black, and it was the screen, and I was so relieved, so grateful. So this is why I'm saying community. You know, you need people you can rely on. So I love my neighbors. They're awesome. And so I just called Natalie, his wife, and I said, well, I hate to be a needy neighbor, but I just fell in my garage and I really need, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stand in there and do what I wanted to do, but I need cilantro and for making fermented salsa, and I need fresh ginger for my tomato jam. And all these things have to happen like right now because we're at the tail end of tomatoes. And so I must have thrown away 50 rotten tomatoes yesterday, and I hate doing that and throw it away. They're going in the compost, but still, you just can't use them fast enough. And so that's what I'm saying about community is so important. What I wanted to talk to you about is this week, this is epic times. Some people say epoch times. Epic times is one of these newer news organizations that where you can feel like you can get the truth and you're not just getting the Mockingbird media narrative. And so he put out a video, which I actually, let's see if it's still up. I'd be surprised if it's,
this past week,
yes,
YouTube
it's
introduced a new updated medical misinformation policy, which will censor any medical content, or even more generally, any health-related content, which doesn't align with the claims that are coming out from the World Health Organization. You heard that right. If the unelected bureaucrats over in Geneva, Switzerland, who run the World Health Organization, if they decide that something is not true, then you, the common plebe right here in America, can no longer post a video saying anything to the contrary. And of course, it goes the other way as well. If those bureaucrats say something is true, well, you better not say that it isn't. And it's really worth mentioning that this new policy is not limited to COVID, and it's not limited to the COVID vaccine, but instead, this applies to all health and medical content on the entire platform.
all health and medical content on the entire YouTube platform.
To start with, beginning all the way back in the year 2022, YouTube maintained this webpage right here, titled COVID-19 Misinformation Policy. According to that page, quote, YouTube doesn't allow content that spreads medical misinformation that contradicts local health authorities or the World Health Organization's, WHO's, medical information about COVID-19. And indeed, if you happen to scroll down on that page, you would see a broad and comprehensive list of things that people were not allowed to discuss on the YouTube platform regarding COVID. However, something interesting happened over this past weekend. If you tried to access that particular COVID misinformation page, well, you found that it no longer existed. And instead, you were suddenly redirected to this page right here, the new and much more general medical misinformation policy. Here's specifically what it says. And notice as we're reading it that it is no longer confined solely to COVID. Quote, YouTube doesn't allow content that poses a serious risk of egregious harm by spreading medical misinformation that contradicts local health authorities or the World Health Organization's guidance about specific health conditions and substances. This policy includes the following categories: prevention misinformation, treatment misinformation, and then...
So it's prevention, treatment, and all of that. And they are going to adhere to the World Health Organization. Now, bear in mind that the leader of that, Tedros, is not a scientist or a doctor, and he's just been elected to another very long term, another 10 years or whatever. I don't know. Just you can look it up, but it's whatever they decide, and everything is geared towards big pharma and against natural medicine. Now, my last video, plant medicine video, which was the yarrow video, I mentioned in there that they had just started talking about this in Canada again, and they're really trying to just shut down all homeopathic and all natural cures or natural remedies to anything. They want to promote regulated FDA, CDC drugs and all of that. So whereas you could before get all kinds of information online, you may start to begin to see more and more videos pulled down from the internet. Now, I don't know how far they're going to go. Who knows how far they're going to go? But I mean, I have red clover, wild lettuce, yarrow, mullein. What's the other one? Fleabane. I think, and then tulsi, holy basil, and some others. And I was going to continue to do that because there's more stuff I want to cover here, such as purslane, plantain, dandelion, of course. There's a million videos on dandelion. I can't compete with all that, but I wanted to do some of the things that I have here that you know people might not be aware of. Oh, and the Oriental lady's thumb. I wanted to do that because I have that growing out there. So yeah, so censorship is real, and you just have to bear in mind that the information that you'll be hearing won't have as much natural medicine, because the big pharma cannot patent all the plants, you know? And God put an awful lot of plant remedies here for us. It's up to us to study them and figure out, and many generations before us, hundreds of years, people have been using various kinds of plant medicine. I mean, raw honey, for example, has been used as medicine for since Egypt, since 4,000 years ago. You know, raw honey has so many health benefits, and so do a lot of other plants. So we have to be aware that all of the things that are coming and that we've been through certainly for the last 3-4 years. I mean, this has been in process for decades. I mean, George Bush Sr. was talking about the New World Order back when he was in office. You can find that clip online. But they didn't play their hand until the last couple of years, you know, during the whole virus that we've all been through. And somebody just uploaded, I just saw a video yesterday or the day before. It's like you can search for it. It's called The Lie That Started It All. And that was that every single news media outlet was saying 3.4% of the population was dying because of this virus. Whereas the president at the time said, no, it's less than 1%. But everybody poo-pooed that, put him down and said, no, that's misinformation. It's really 3.4%. Well, now we know it was like 0.5% or something like that. And so many of the measures that were taken during all of that, like for example, the 6-foot distancing, now we know they just made it up. They said they just made it up. There was no scientific basis whatsoever, and all of these stores have these footprints, 6 feet apart. It's just what they've put people through, and keeping people from saying goodbye to their grandparents and their parents, and what we've been through it's just, hopefully you feel like I do, that we cannot go back to that, that we won't go back. We will not go back to that. But that's the other thing that has just come out, that they made very clear, is that it's all coming back. There's going to be a new fear mongering about a new variant or something, and there's a new, now it's safe drug that's going to protect you. And please be wary of any of this that you hear on mainstream media. Please be discerning. God tells us to be discerning, and so this is when it really, really counts. If everybody just says, oh, okay, if I have to do that to travel, I'll do it, or if everyone had said, and now we know that this made people sicker. And even if you had an N95, that they now know, they've proven that wearing an N95 for more than an hour or two is detrimental to your health. And it's certainly detrimental to your health. And children, we needed the natural immunity of children. We needed children to be without this, and to be in school, and to be out playing, and to building up the natural immunity in the world, because now they've admitted that natural immunity is better. But at the time they said, no, we have to lock everybody down. Well, what is that about? Ask yourself, what is that about? Why are you limiting the information about natural medicines? Why are you limiting and restricting people's movements? Everything is about one thing: control. Control. It's simple. So once you can see the whole picture, you may not know who all the players are or all the motivations or anything, but the bottom line is it's all about control. Because if they can stay in control, if they can control us, they can stay in power. You see? And it's not a question of this party or that party, because it's like there's a uniparty. And many people, there are very few people in either party that are independent and not taking money from these PACs and these groups that say, okay, now you have to say this, these are your talking points, this is the narrative, this is what you have to say, and you can't talk about any of that. And meanwhile, our food plants are burning down, and now Greece is burning down, Syria fires, Maui, it's another fire on Maui yesterday. So you have to ask yourself, well, what is this all about? And it's about control. And I've been talking about all of these various things for a year now, and those videos have gotten more views than all of my cooking and gardening and harvesting and informational videos about anything put together. They have gotten many more views. So I know it's obvious that people are looking for information. They want to be, the Great Awakening is happening. And I'm part of it. I admit it. I am part of it. I have friends that were awake when they were teenagers. They knew the whole deal. They understood it all. And not me. No. It took this whole last 4 years for me to go, wait a minute. And all you have to do is go, well, wait, if that wasn't true, what else wasn't true? If it wasn't true that we needed to stand 6 feet apart scientifically to protect ourselves from some airborne virus, then what else wasn't true that they told us repeatedly and repeatedly? So now this is just sort of like the latest thing is, okay, well, we don't want anybody using any plants for medicine, plants that God gave us, because they can't patent that. They can't make money on it. So be discerning, be aware, bulk up your book library. I've got a bunch of them sitting right here, actually. Gardening in Tennessee and Kentucky. I think somebody gave me that. I think that was a gift. Somebody recommended these 2 books. Herbal Antivirals and Antibiotics. Have words, printed words on your bookshelf. And then this, Sharon at Sharon's Natural Gardens recommended to me, Flower Power. Flower remedies for healing body and soul through herbalism, homeopathy, aromatherapy, and flower essences. So make sure that you're covered in printed information, just in case. Just in case you can't access it on the internet, or you can't access the internet, And there's a lot more things I could talk about, but those are the big things that happened, along with the Maui fire. And please, everybody, continue to pray for Maui. There's a lot we don't understand about what happened, and a lot of stories are, I tried to lift my leg. Now, all of you people who have injured your knees, now I have fallen on my kneecap many times and it's just been bruised and everything. Now when I start to lift my leg, it just feels like I can't do it, like it's catching and everything. So I mean, this affects everything, and that's something that you have to consider. I mean, no matter how big your place is, but my place is big, and I need to be able to ride my four-wheeler around and hop on and hop off, and break down my garden for the winter. So I've ordered my cover crop seed, and I'm sure I can get Randy over here to help me till the soil and stuff, but it's really going to be up to me to finish up. And the pea harvest, my wild goose pea harvest hasn't even come in. I've only harvested like I took 4 or 5 pods off the other day, and I gave them to my neighbor. He came and got some more corn stalks for his cows, which he's going to sell. So, you know, he's fattening them up for sale. Put a little bit more weight on. And then his cucumbers finally came in. My cucumbers have, unless I can get them going with hydrogen peroxide, and I'll tell you about that in a second, unless I can get them going, they're done. And his wife, Risa, he had some late cucumbers, and he sent me a picture, and it looked like there was at least a dozen pints, maybe more, I don't know, bread and butter pickles, and I love bread and butter pickles. So I said, save me one for Christmas, and I want to make him some tomato jam. So, because he said, that sounds interesting. She hadn't ever made that. And I have a great video. It's very short and sweet, and you can see how, I'll put the link right up there. It's my tomato jam recipe that I did back in my California garden. And I look back at that, oh my gosh, I look so good. My kitchen looked so good, and it was just like, oh, golly. Oh, I can't replicate that here. The light in my kitchen here is just, I can't deal with it. So I'm hoping to maybe get something changed about that this winter. But we also have to worry about the dollar dying, and that's a whole other video. So I'll save that for the next one. I hope this has been helpful. Please let me know if it has. Leave me a comment below. And I hope you subscribe, click the bell for notifications, scroll down and click all so you won't miss anything, and find ways to support this channel underneath each video. You know, every little bit helps to support this channel, because Lord knows I don't make very much money from the ads. And if you're new to YouTube, that's how we make money, is through the ads. If you click the ad off right away, then we don't get anything. And if you let it play for a few seconds, then we get a couple of pennies or something. So it requires lots of views and to actually make money. You can have almost 112,000 subscribers, but if you don't have 10 to 12,000 views on each video, which I don't, then you know you're not succeeding. So I appreciate all your help, all your support. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video. And please leave me any thoughts on the knee, because hopefully it's just, you know, swollen and bruised or whatever, and then I can be up and going. By the way, my shoulder got much better. It was no big deal. So thanks a lot. Take care. Bye. I appreciate all you very, very much. God bless you.